You think you know my country. It is beautiful, yes, but it can be harsh and challenging. We are blessed with a wealth of nature's gifts, but we also have more than our share of poverty. We are one with Africa and stand tall among the other nations of the world. The challenges we face are many, but we embrace them with dignity and enduring sense of hope.
What is it that defines us as a country? What inspires us as a rainbow nation? What ignites our passion and makes South Africa alive with possibilities? Well, let me tell you, it is the optimism, an all-embracing attitude that says regardless of the circumstances and challenges that shape millions of lives in South Africa, there is always a way and always hope.
It is this hope that drives our team, made up of 884 active members from the University of Johannesburg, South Africa. I am Francis Sogby.
Ek is Christine Ickerman.
Ke nna Kagiso Mahlangu.
Ngingunomvelo Xulu.
Ke Lerato Mpanza.
Ndingumasonwabe Fuma.
And I am Nezaro Novella. With us is the IT specialist, Andile Hlachwayo, and our faculty advisor, Mrs. Joyce Sibego. Judges, observers, ladies and gentlemen, through this presentation, we will show you how Team South Africa has helped create opportunities for refugees and urban farmers who had lost hope. As you know, the world is currently facing a huge challenge with refugees streaming into countries as your own. South Africa is not immune to this and has more than 3.2 million refugees and asylum seekers in 2015 alone.
According to the 2016 report by the United Nations High Commissioner, by the end of 2015, the number of asylum claims in South Africa had risen to over 1 million, a startling figure considering that in the 2014 report, there were only 463,900.
Let's take Somalia as an example. A peaceful and prosperous country in the 70s has now been turned into a graveyard due to civil war. More than 1 million refugees come from Somalia to South Africa, which, according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, is 10% of the country's population.
A civil war-stricken country since 1980. Can you imagine being a refugee for 36 years? This translates to you being unable to settle down or plan your future. Everywhere you go, your status is less than that of a human being because you don't have the required documents or the right nationality.
You are a victim of crime, harsh weather conditions, different kinds of sexual assaults and emotional abuse. When you're a child, this is even worse, as 50% of this population is made up of children. This is the fate of people who leave their countries as a result of war, persecution, or famine. Most of them end up on the streets with no place to stay, no food to eat. But the lucky ones, they'll end up in a place of safety, like Jesu Refugee Service.
JRS is an international non-government organization that accompanies, advocates, and serves for refugees. In their endeavor to assist refugees, JRS has tried in the past to help them start survivalist businesses by giving them a grant of $363. But unfortunately, 80% of those businesses fell within the first 3 months of starting up.
JRS then approached our team for assistance addressing this challenge. We conducted a needs assessment, which showed inadequate business skills as well as a language barrier. Small business owners viewed them as direct competition, which led to assault, xenophobic attacks, as well as refugees being afraid to start up businesses in South Africa.
Having identified these needs, our team developed a plan to help these vulnerable people normalize their lives by offering a basic product mix training. Business concepts were simplified, and the use of graphics and interpreters bridged the language barrier.
We also included training on bylaws and legislation to hold compliance by the refugees. This helped them to start businesses in demarcated areas for traders and small businesses. This also minimized conflicts with the local businesses. This year, the team has trained 221 refugees from Somalia, Burundi, Nigeria, and the DRC.
As agreed by JRS, once the refugees completed the training, they automatically qualified for a startup grant. So far, 135 refugees received startup grants, of which 33 are operating successful businesses, generating an average of $183 per month.
We introduced combined workshops for foreign nationals and locals that sped up social cohesion. Here they shared best practices, and through storytelling, foreign nationals shared their experiences with the locals about becoming refugees.
Our team drafted a memorandum of understanding between the locals and the foreign nationals to regulate their relationship and also to address xenophobia. The team, both of the locals and the foreign nationals, were representatives to signing this memorandum. The Minister of Small, Medium, and Micro Enterprises, Minister Lindiwe Zulu, attended the ceremony where the memorandum was signed, and also to affirm that this memorandum applies to all 9 provinces in South Africa. This gave birth to a new unified organization called the African Traders Congress.
The team noticed that some women brought their children to our training sessions, causing these children to miss out on a crucial stage of their foundational phases of their education. Confronting JRS with this new finding, our team was assigned and afforded a stipend of $10,000 to conduct a baseline needs educational amongst refugee pre-primary to secondary school children. Our team hopes that these needs can be addressed so that the children can attend school again.
Ladies and gentlemen, our team is proud that we could successfully address a global issue at a local level with the hope that other countries facing similar challenges could learn from us and share our conviction of hope to a group of people who had no home.
So, to summarize our outcomes,
On a social level, by providing business skills and empowering 145 women, we have saved them from rape, prostitution, child neglect, and possible death on the streets of Johannesburg. Incidents of violence between asylum seekers, local communities, and refugees has been reduced by 50% over the course of our project period, as reported by JRS.
We were able to conduct a need analysis to address the challenge of the refugee children going to school. Our baseline study has been completed in 2015, and this in 2016, and recommendations will be made in 2017. We are proud to announce that the refugees are now fully integrated into the community, gain confidence to operate their businesses in demarcated areas, some even becoming friends.
Economically, we have trained 221 refugees on business skills. 135 received startup grants, of which 33 are operating successful businesses, generating an average of $183 per business per month, assisting an average of 6 people per household. Ladies and gentlemen, not only did we give hope to foreign nationals, but also we gave hope to our local citizens. Introducing our second project, which originates in 2013, Conversations About Food, and in isiZulu translated,
Izindaba zokudla.
When you have a population of 16.7 million people totally depending on government social welfare, the challenge is huge. According to Statistics South Africa, 26% of the population are food insecure. In this presentation, we'll show you how we have helped social welfare recipients supplement their income through urban farming.
Climate change is considered a major threat to food security and agriculture in the 21st century, particularly in poor and agricultural-based countries in sub-Saharan Africa. In December 2015, the UN and the Food Agricultural Association issued a warning that about 6.3 million people in drought-stricken Southern Africa will face food shortages this year.
The impact of drought is already being experienced in many parts of our country. Over 60% of the South African population is urbanized, with just 6% involved in food production. With this problem facing our communities, our team was confronted with the fact that we are situated in a city with not enough land for residential purposes, let alone farming.
in order to address the issue of food security among social welfare recipients, our team came up with a 3-phase approach.
In the initial phase, we identified a group of individuals who were doing small-scale farming in their backyards in and around the outskirts of Johannesburg.
After conducting a needs analysis, we realized that though the farmers wanted to do something about food security, they had minimal agricultural skills. no land, no resources, no startup capital, and no business skills.
To help address some of the challenges faced by these farmers, our team partnered with the Department of Developmental Studies at the University of Johannesburg and started a movement for farmers called Izindaba Zokudla.
The intention of Izindaba Zokudla was to ensure that we strengthen the network between the farmers. The aim was to ensure that the farmers know each other and they could start sharing best farming practices, have a bargaining power of buying, economies of scale, and could eventually venture into commercial farming.
In addressing the identified needs, we started a farmer school. Although the University of Johannesburg does not have a Center for Agricultural Studies, this did not stop us from inviting other stakeholders to be a part of this project. Through our farmer school, our beneficiaries were equipped with business, basic agricultural, and financial management skills.
Our secondary phase enabled our beneficiaries to obtain land to farm, with our ideas of urban farming being implemented.
With Soweto as the largest suburb in South Africa, we have vast portions of open land. But however, this land is used as illegal dumping sites and provides a haven for criminal activity. But with the help of the City of Johannesburg Metropolitan Municipality, we assisted our cooperatives in securing some of these sites, and our beneficiaries were allocated land on the outskirts of the City of Johannesburg.
In addition, the attendants of our farmer schools were afforded the opportunity to benefit from our annual Green Week, where approximately 400 Enactus students in groups of 8 spent a whole week conducting needs analysis by interviewing, doing site visits, and collecting questionnaires from beneficiaries. The data collected was utilized to address the needs of the farmers with practical, meaningful, and tangible solutions.
Through our intervention, 40 business plan pitches for investment purposes, 37 branding packages, 25 prototypes, financial assistance, tools and equipment, as well as new markets were developed in support of our farmers' needs.
In order to create additional markets, the third phase involved the establishment of the farmers' market, where our beneficiaries currently sell their produce to the public and local retailers. Due to the provision of resources by the municipality, our farmers' produce increased, enabling them to sell their produce to the local retailers and large chain stores.
So, to summarize our actions, we established a vibrant network for farmers in Soweto to share best farming practices, created job opportunities for people who would have never found employment due to their age, and increased the confidence levels of the farmers by teaching them computer literacy skills and branded their farming produce for easy access to markets.
Socially, we have enabled 156 beneficiaries to obtain land to farm on. These beneficiaries were living from hand to mouth, but have now developed an entrepreneurial mindset and an increased self-esteem. Granny Lillian, for example, age 70, is now able to pay for her grandchildren's school fees, while Tsepo, a former convict who is now fully integrated into society, runs a successful herb and vegetable garden that he uses to teach school children how to establish gardens.
Economically, we established 21 cooperatives and 21 small businesses that are properly branded with increased production and new markets to sell their produce to. In addition, our farmers received free computer literacy lessons at a value of $48,167 and now have email addresses to ease their communication with vendors.
Environmentally, 12 hectares of land, 10 dumping sites have been turned into vegetable gardens, while crime-ridden areas are now producing food and making income for the elderly, This has helped them to keep their streets clean.
Our Facebook friends were inspired by our team and started crop growing projects for children under 12.
In terms of our future plans, we are establishing a secondary cooperatives for our farmers so that they can continually get support through research and development from our university. 2 PhD action research are underway on models for urban cooperatives using business and engineering methodologies. We are establishing the Izindaba Zokudla network to neighboring suburbs and other cities in our province to stimulate best farming practice and markets. Now let's hear from one of our beneficiaries.
Enactus. Since the students from Enactus, they've come and facilitated great change over also. They've made a nice branding that have opened up many doors for us in the sense of wherever we pitch, we present, and we do our sales. It became so highly attractive in the sense of government departments, they've responded in a positive way.
Wow, talk about a successful project. At Enactus South Africa, we sure do have a good story to tell.
In conclusion,
Enactus University of Johannesburg, along with 884 active members, is the largest team in South Africa and has managed to contribute 56,990 volunteering hours empowering communities.
We have created 37 branding packages, saving our cooperatives $12,694.
We have created 25 prototypes, which, once manufactured, could create at least 1,000 jobs, saving our farmers over $2,500.
We have developed 40 business plan pitches for investment purposes, which fundraise $60,622 in monetary and equipment value.
We have trained 156 farmers, obtained 12 hectares of land, with 10 dumping sites being turned into edible gardens. This led to our welfare grant recipients raising their daily allowance from $0 before our intervention to $10 per day.
We have trained 221 refugees from 12 different countries and saved JRS $53,074 on training fees. The 33 businesses that were established are now earning an income collectively of more than $6,000 per month, assisting more than 6 people per household.
Our projects prove that communities have the will and capabilities to help themselves if given the opportunity to do so. Our projects are the blueprint for how this could be done with very few resources and can therefore be rolled out worldwide to address and most probably end hunger and xenophobia.
Enactus South Africa,
unlocking opportunities.
tackling the global refugee challenges,
and addressing food security.
Hello. Can you define the six? You said you had 33 successful businesses that were started out of 135. What made the 33 successful compared to the ones out of the 135? What was the key factor? And is that can you duplicate it?
Okay, thank you, sir, for your question. The 33 businesses are the ones that are already started, and those are the ones that are already in operational. So that's why we are highlighting on them that they are actually successful, and the children, and they're able to actually provide for their families. I hope that answers your question.
In addition to what my colleague is saying, the other businesses are in the process of being set up. They haven't yet been established. Thank you.
Just a question on the farming aspect. I think you commenced the presentation by saying that there is about 16.3 million people on welfare, and the objective is to really take them off. But I didn't see in your presentation what percentage or what impact you have, or your program had on that number. Do you have those figures?
Thank you, sir, for your question. If I may get the correct, the question that you're asking us is you're asking based on the 6.4 million that we presented. It's based on the research that when we were compiling our presentation, when we researched, that was the number that we got. But in terms of our beneficiaries, we have about 200 and plus farmers that actually attend our trainings. So that's the number we've impacted in our project of Izindaba Zokudla.
Thank you. With regard to your food security project, you said you established 21, 22 cooperatives. One question is, were they all established in the last year? And my second question is, do you have an ongoing involvement in those cooperatives, or do you just assist the people to start them up and then expect them to continue very quickly to be independent?
Okay, thank you so much for your question. Okay, the first part is that we actually working with our cooperatives hand in hand until they are well stable to actually run the farmers actually on their own and or run the businesses on their own. And then if I may understand correctly, the second part of your question, you are asking whether the
Just to help him out, yes, the farmers have started with their cooperatives already. Although some actually start with the cooperatives when they have joined the Izindaba Zokudla. So yes, we do have a success plan in terms of how they will continue. As he had said that, that the farmers are part of the Izindaba Zokudla and they have started their cooperatives. With that, they are able to continue. And as the students, when we train them, they already understand or have the ability to understand or go with their businesses. So there is a success plan. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I have a question about the financial report, because I also didn't see it in the presentation, so I'm curious if you can elaborate on this. I see a lot of your revenues coming from fundraising. So my question is basically about all the two projects. How is it a sustainable financial? How are your projects sustainable financial?
Okay, thank you, sir, for your question. With our Jesuit Refugee Service project, what we do, though the UN is providing the funds, those funds are allocated, yes, to the refugees, but after the farmers have broken even, they are actually required to repay the money so that that money can be used to assist other refugees.
With the farmers, what we have done is that our school is basically free of charge, so they don't pay any money. So that money that they were supposed to be using to attend computer literacy classes or do business plans is then used for other activities within their farms. That is how we have saved the farmers money. And that with us, because we actually transfer the knowledge or the